Hello and welcome to the Blansko Klobasa podcast with your hosts, me, Craggy.
And I'm Ralph.
And this is the first actual episode of the podcast. We have got a pilot episode which we recorded a couple of weeks ago, if you want to go and check that out. And on that, we'd like to say a big thank you to all the feedback and tips and opinions that we got for the last pod that we did.
I'd like to say, hopefully I don't sound like I'm in the toilet this time.
We're working on it. We could go and record it from the toilet.
Craggy, what's with the new hair? I mean, I can see that you've been to the hairdresser. Come on, is there a story behind this?
Today, honestly, I went to the hairdressers and I was sitting there, and an old woman walks into the salon, white hair, probably in her 70s, I would say. And she looks at me, she stops and she looks in the mirror, she's standing behind me, and she says to the hairdresser, "Jesus, he's a handsome man." And then the hairdresser said something to her, and then she leant down into my ear and whispered something into my ear, which I didn't really understand. And then she turned to the hairdresser and she said, "I wish I was 40 again like you," and then walked off.
So she knows your age then, hey?
No, she meant the hairdresser. She was the age of the hairdresser.
Oh my God. Okay, so did you get her number?
No.
Sorry, Lenka.
No, but I might be hanging out there a little bit more often.
Do you know, I haven't been to a hairdresser for 15 years, maybe longer now.
Do you shave it yourself, do you?
Yeah, mate. Anyway, welcome to the hairdressing pod. Craggy, come on, tell us what you've been up to since the last pod.
Well, I've been having quite a nice time, actually. Not all of it involving football. Most of it not, actually. Mm-hmm. A couple of weekends ago, I was in Vranov na Dee. And really lovely weather. Went hiking to Číšov, where a few hundred meters of the Iron Curtain is still remaining. So
could you just for the listeners who don't know, where exactly are we talking about here now? Are we talking about the Czech-German border? Where are we?
So we're in South Moravia, we can say. So Vranov na Dee is not far from Znojmo in the south of Moravia. It's quite close to the border with Austria, and Číšov is even closer. And it's in the Pody National Park. So it's a really nice walk from Vranov through the sort of rocks and the cliffs over the river, walk in the countryside all the way to Číšov. I think it took us about 3.5-4 hours.
Wow.
It was really nice, and it's interesting. Číšov is a tiny sort of village. Great little pub though, has some karbonátky there, stopped off for some meat and potatoes. Some actually had the potato salad, which you're not too keen on.
I'm not keen on it at all. No, I don't like because usually it goes with a warmer, like kind of main dish. Yeah, I don't like this as a side dish. Cold potato salad. No, not a fan. Not a fan. Can you see remains of the Iron Curtain?
Yeah, they've got it's set up kind of like a museum. So you walk into Číšov, there's no kind of fanfare really. You just see there's some like wired fencing, there's a tower, and there's some, I'm not sure what you call them, these kind of tank stoppers, these big iron sort of tank stoppers. So it's quite interesting just to see it out there out in the field. There's no fair. Like I said, it's a tiny village.
There's a cycle trail, it's an 800-kilometre cycle trail that I'd love to be able to do if I can fix my knee.
Yeah.
Along the Iron Curtain. Yeah. So like a German and Austrian, and the borders. So I'd love to be able to do that.
The Austrian town is Hardegg, isn't it? It's close to there, which is nice. You can see it from above.
I always find this really fascinating. Because it's something certainly people of my generation were never able and could imagine actually, witnessing, the Iron Curtain. My dad used to talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
So,
it was quite an amazing feeling when you go to see it, really.
There with Mrs. B?
I was there with Mrs. B, the newly promoted Mrs. B. And then last weekend, I've just got back from Lhačovice, actually. Yeah. It's quite a nice, typical spa weekend. I actually stayed in a hotel that was built by Bohuslav Fuchs, which was
very nice. Famous Czech architect.
Yeah.
Was that when I was in Lhačovice? I mean, I was there kind of like drinking, not kind of wellnessing, if that's a word. Did you There used to be a bakery that opens at kind of like midnight and serves these fresh bacon rolls.
Yeah. Yeah, I had some like it was kind of parky and some nice pastry. I'd say, yeah, because it's got this great sign that says "Noczni Prode" above it. It's still there.
Yeah, night sale. Is it like a window? Or?
Yeah, it's a window. It's like, well, the bakery is open during the day, isn't it? But in the evening, it's just the window.
And was there a queue? Because when I was there, was a queue. Like it was usually like night revelers. You know, like people that were.
It's very popular.
Yeah, I loved it though.
I also bought some oplatki from there for anyone that doesn't know these wafer discs, aren't they, with just a bit of sugar in it.
Yeah, a lot of sugar. Yeah. Not for me. I don't see how that's wellness.
No, I was doing the tourist thing. I thought definitely have some oplatki. And I tried the Lajenske pivo while I was there.
Yeah.
I didn't go to the brewery, but I had some Luhan 11.
Oh, okay. All right, okay. It's a beautiful part of the world, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's really nice. It's really nice.
Yeah. In fact, David Fisher, who's coming up later, he's from that area, so... Yeah.
And what about you? What have you been up to?
Ground hopping. As you can imagine. I've been to quite a few games. The first one I think I did after the pod was Kruzim's first game in Divizia for about 20 odd years with 60 Yeah, 60 friends.
60
and
friends.
650
You haven't got that many friends.
other I haven't got any friends. 650 other fans. It was a brilliant game. Sending off Bohunice, who just come down from the Musafala, the third tier, 2 penalty misses.
Fantastic.
And even the last home game that I went there was even better. 3 sendings off, a derby against Velké Bitesh. They lost 4-2 after being 2-1 up. Yeah, Kruzim are a really fun team to watch. I must say that I enjoy going there and seeing the old Blansko boys that play for them now.
Yeah, and it is a nice little place to watch football.
Yeah, it is. It's lovely. And I also did a Blansko B game.
Which I'm yet to do, but I've been threatened.
Yeah. I went there with some German groundhoppers who told me that they were going, so I thought I would tag along. There was a rail replacement bus, which was a nightmare. I have to say, I think I would check the driving licenses because I think they just put train drivers on the buses because this guy was an absolute loon.
Yeah, really?
Like flying through the villages, I was tutting a lot. I don't usually tut. It must be an age thing. I was going,
Could he hear?
Yeah, probably, maybe. And then he was just driving faster. Got to Ivančice, had a couple of beers on my own before I met the groundhoppers. But I have to say, again, there was another sending off. I've seen a lot of red cards this season. It's always a shouty fan.
Yeah,
always a shouty fan at these games. Do you know who the shouty fan was this time?
No.
Adam Hlozek's dad. He was sat next to us. He shouted at the ref for probably the first 45 minutes.
Classic.
His son was playing, so Adam Hlozek, I'm sure you know, plays for Hoffenheim now. He's just moved from Bayer Leverkusen. Shouty fan. You got a favourite shouty fan?
Well, probably ours at Blansko, isn't it? What were we calling recently? Head in the bag.
The angry man.
We've got the angry man of Blansko who, he never pays to get in, does he? He always waits for half time. And then he joins us. When we had Pavel the drummer with us, he got quite angry with the angry man a few times, didn't he?
Yeah, it's a little bit of an argument between fisticuffs.
No fisticuffs. So his son's there shouting and swearing at the players, at the referee, at everybody else. Yeah, mainly the ref. It's his favourite target, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we were actually, it's funny, isn't it? The game that we'll talk about later, but we were at Trokovice and we were quite frustrated with the referee at one point. And I was reminded of when Pavel the drummer used to shout ugly carrot at the referee as an insult.
He did, yeah. Quite a nice insult. Friendly insult. They're only human after all, you know. As I've said, blood, So Adam Hlozek's dad is a very shouty man. It's so frustrating to listen to. I moved for the second half because
it's not a lot of fun, is it?
Couldn't deal with it anymore. Yeah, but it was nice to watch a B game, and also I can say that there are more Blansko away fans at a B game than there are for the A team away, which is again a big shame.
So that's a bit bizarre, isn't it? Why do you think?
I think probably family members. They're usually a younger team and stuff. But it's great result. We won 2-1 away, and I think we've also won our second game. So we're sitting top of the league in the 6th tier of Czech football. So I plan to do a few more away games with the B team this year, definitely.
So another B team doing well, then you can say.
Yeah. But this time it's ours. Yeah. So that's basically what I've been up to. Bit of travelling, and of course I've done a couple of games with you. One with Wingy as well, who hopefully will be on the show a little bit later as well.
Great. So coming up on the show today, we will discuss the 2 or 3 Blansko games that we've attended 2 of them since the start of the season. There have been 3. We will be lucky enough to speak to Wingy and talking about Wingy's song, musical man Wingy. He's up in the north at the moment, sunning himself. We'll talk a little bit more about Malaga, moving on from the last pod where we talked to Matt Losboyo. We'll have an interview with David Fisher later, which we'll talk more about.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that again.
Yeah, excellent. And we'll say hello to David Klusak.
Hi, I'm David Klusak.
Hello!
So what's up next then, Craigie?
Well, I guess we'd best get on to things all football, haven't we? We had pretty good start to the season up until Otrokovica.
2 home games, 2 wins, pretty comfortable wins.
Well, we kicked off against Neumo in the first game, didn't we?
Yeah, and I think anybody who listened to the pilot will say that, have heard us say we weren't sure what kind of team that they were going to put out. But they actually managed to get 11 players.
Yeah.
Actually, I think there was 13 and there was 2 substitutes.
Yeah.
They didn't use their youth team as I predicted. They managed to sign a lot of players on the Friday. I think they hadn't even had a training session, maybe one training session before they played us.
Yeah, that late.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they brought in players who'd played for Atletico Madrid reserves, some from Napoli. They brought some in from Albania, from Belgium. So they're basically putting together a similar squad to what they had last year.
Again, no Czechs. Yeah,
I think there was a couple of Czechs. Yeah, in the team. Yeah. So I don't know if that will be the end. I think because I think they've signed more. But yeah, I think they performed pretty well, didn't they? I think
considering they hadn't played together or they hadn't had any. Well, if they hadn't had any training session, then definitely they didn't look bad. But again, it was similar to last time that we watched Neumo in the fact there was a lot of for obvious reasons, maybe there was a lot of individual performances, wasn't there?
A little bit of arguments as well. You know, towards the end when I think after they conceded 2 goals.
Yeah, a bit of frustration there.
Yeah,
I think.
But you can understand it, can't you? I was impressed. I have to say, I was impressed that they put together a team and actually performed. Even though we ran out 3-0 winners with goals from Jambor ×2 and Martin Sedlak. One, I think, I think we were worthy winners in the end. I think definitely. We showed that we had more experience. I think we started to control the game, certainly towards the end of the first half and then beginning of the second. And followed it up with a 2-1 win against Uherský Brod.
Yeah, which we didn't go to.
No, I missed it as well. But some wonderful goals, performances. So we went on to Otrokovica.
Expecting a little bit something different, weren't we?
Yeah.
Well, at least we got something we weren't expecting at Otrokovica.
Are we talking about the 80-year-old woman? The e-scooters?
We're talking about... Well, I'm talking about the football. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, all right. Maybe we should talk about why we went there first of all. Yeah. I mean, of course we went there to watch Blansko play, but Otrokovica, I mean, how would you explain to our listeners who probably don't know very much about Otrokovica what the place is like?
Well, for me, actually, Otrokovica is mainly just one loop near the train station where there's a lot of pubs. But of course, we walked out into Otrokovica because we were. So it's not a glorious, glamorous place, can I say? But it's quite interesting, isn't it?
It is. It's very industrial, shall we say.
Yeah, it is industrial.
But I went there because, I know we both went there. Maybe I dragged you along, I'm not sure, because I wanted to find the actual location where Tomas Bata, like a visionary, an entrepreneur who built a shoe factory in neighbouring Zlín, I wanted to see where he died.
Yeah.
Is that a bit morbid?
Well, it could be a thing for you. You know, travelling around the Czech Republic, finding places where people died.
Yeah.
Have you got a list?
Well, let's talk about it later. But the thing is that I really wanted to see Barchov because I wanted to see, like the overspill of Zlín, really, where where Bata built like other factories and he housed, his workers there. But of course, when you get there, you realise that a lot of the people living there are quite old. And, I asked the question, where did Tomas Bata die? But when you ask it in Czech, the subject is at the end. So it's Kde zemřel Tomas Bata. And of course, the reaction from the women, a lot of old women there, was like, if you say, where did die? Their reaction is like horror. So
they did take a little while to answer you as they gathered their thoughts.
But they didn't know the information.
No, they
when
didn't,
I said,
no.
where did Tomas Bata die? They said, Zlín.
The second woman you asked, I think we were waiting a good 5 minutes before she said anything.
Oh my God!
It took a little while to switch him on.
Yes, yeah. An old generation, should we say? But we finally found the place. It was in an industrial zone
at the back end of the industrial estate there, I think.
Like by a derelict building, just like a small kind of like
plaque thing,
yeah. It's not really a statue, is it?
It's not, no.
But we found it.
We did.
And it was, God, how hot was it?
It was extremely hot.
Not the monument, but the weather. Yeah, man. Oh my God. And then we made our way back to Bashina.
Yeah.
Which is a great little pub by Otrokovice train station. But there really are like 6 pubs.
Yeah, it's quite fascinating, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll go to a train station and the only pub you can find is in the station, or maybe you won't find anything. But here there is really 6. So this is what I mean earlier when I said there's a loop. A loop of pubs outside a couple of bus stops, basically.
Because we couldn't find one in Barchov,
no.
Which is what we were hoping for. We were hoping to find one within one of the old kind of like Tomas Bata shopping centres.
Yeah, we found a bistro in the Společenský dům, didn't we? But it wasn't really worth hanging out there.
Most were drinking in the park.
Yeah, they were. And we could have joined them,
We could have joined them, of course.
And of course, you asked me the question, for those who are listening, everywhere we go, we always take the Blansko with us. But apart from that, everywhere we go, we ask the question eventually, could you live here?
And could you?
No. But when you put that question to you, it was like, well, you could live in one of these
like
flats.
the e-scooters had just gone by, so I realised that there was another way of getting around town.
Yeah, there's a lot of getting around town on those. But you could live in one of those flats.
I could definitely live in one of those flats. Those Bata houses are beautiful.
All the houses as well.
Yeah, the houses, all the flats are beautiful. I don't know what it is about the red brick, because you see it quite a lot in Britain, but when in the Czech Republic you don't see it so much. So it's quite interesting, I think. So I could definitely live there.
Yeah.
We've got a friend who lives just outside there called Phil Beck. One thing about Otrokovice that I have to say though is I've got a friend called Zbigniew who told me that he used to go to school in Zlín and he lived in Tlumachov. So he had to travel by bus through Zlín through Otrokovice every day, and he said, I learnt how not to breathe through my nose, because Otrokovice is famous for a tyre factory, and it's almost famous. It's famous also for the leather a leather factory, and apparently the smell was horrendous. So this is like in the 80s, I would say. Sorry, Spin, if you're a little bit younger. In the 80s. So Spin used to tell me that he would like really hold his breath. And there was a strange smell there, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was.
It wasn't me.
No, are you sure? It was hot.
I'm sure it wasn't. Yeah. But onto the game. And any surprises?
Well, it was all surprises, wasn't it? Well, first, let's just talk about the ground at Otrokovice, because There are 1 or 2 grounds in the league where it is possible you will lose your life. And a Trokovica is really up there.
What's the other one?
Karvina.
Oh, yes. Karvina B. Yeah.
It's quite, well, let's say it's old, but a lot of grounds are old. But this one is unstable, isn't it?
It must have been terracing at one stage. And they've put these blue seats, which you see quite often in these lower league grounds.
Seats,
plastic seats, like a bucket seat or something like that. But the stand is rickety.
Yeah, it's really shaking a bit, isn't it?
It moves.
Yeah, and it doesn't fill you with confidence.
No.
But we stood at the front this time.
Yeah.
And this time it was just absolutely covered in stinging nettles as well. So you had to, I got stung a couple of times. It's not just a little bit of it. There was a lot of it.
No, so you can imagine the kind of place that we were watching Blansko play.
Yeah, and we were sat directly in the sunlight because it was the best place for us to stand. But then we had a surprise when the team was announced.
Yeah, because they rested 5 of the first team.
Yeah.
And when we spoke to the captain, Filip Smirchko, who'd also been rested, we asked him 2 questions. The first one was, why are you not playing? To which he replied, it's Pep's, because we call the coach, Jirka Volitsky, Pep, because he has no hair like Pep
and
Guardiola.
He's a genius manager.
And he's a genius manager. We really like him. We asked him why he wasn't playing, and he said it was a masterstroke. Well, that masterstroke, it was 3-0 down after 30 minutes.
And a hat-trick, wasn't it?
And a hat-trick, yeah. And all the A team were called to warm up. And,
they were warming up well before half-time. We thought they were going to come on before half-time.
Yeah, it looked like that, didn't it?
Because we were getting mauled, I think.
Mauled by the Tigers, the Otrokovica Tigers. That's Hull City, isn't it? We lost 3-0. I think we controlled the second half. You could see that once we put our A team in. Yeah,
we looked like a better team. And that's frustrating a little bit. I mean, we always have fun. It doesn't matter. We didn't go home crying. Yeah. But it was frustrating that you think with our first 11, we looked the better team.
As Gary Lineker would say, they didn't have a sniff in the second half. But we just couldn't. I think we didn't create too many chances, but we controlled the game. And, we got 40-year-old David Bednar.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yes. Yeah. I sent him a message the other day and he said he feels like he's 25 again.
Well, he looked it on that performance.
He did, yeah. So I wonder what he's taking. I might ask him.
Yeah, get some of that.
Yeah, David, what are you taking? Yeah, so that was a Trokovica. We got the last train home, or one of the last direct trains home.
Yeah, it was a bit of a rush.
Yeah. Yes, we were worried. We were worried. There was a few jobs worth who didn't want to let us leave the stadium.
I just pushed my way through that.
You
through
did,
the chain away.
Yeah, you did,
said, I'm going.
And I just followed. Crabby, yeah.
We got to the train station and got a couple of beers in for the journey
from
home.
Another angry woman.
Yeah. There was a lot of angry people in Trokovica.
There was, yeah. I don't know why, though. I don't know. So that was a Trokovica away. So next game's at home on Friday. I have to say, I think it's Unichov, but I don't know who it's against. Is it Unichov? I don't know. I think it's Unichov who beat Zbrojovka B 7-3 at the weekend. 7-3 at home. So it should be a little bit more of a test
for them.
Yes, yeah. So that's basically what we've been up to as far as Blansko goes.
Yeah. And so now we're going to move on to Wingy's song. How are you doing, Wingy?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm back over in Blighty at the moment, but
where are you?
I'm going to be back in Borough, staying at my mate's place. I'm back next week, so.
Oh, back in Brno, back in Blansko, I should say. Sorry.
Yeah. Went to see Borough's first game of the season as well.
Who's that against, Wingy?
Over a club, I can't remember the name. Some Welsh club.
Well deserved victory, mate. A well deserved victory.
Second half, I don't know. Yeah, we were a bit dodgy in the second half, but it was just good being there, And we've got another game on Saturday, so I'll probably go to that. Portsmouth at home.
Okay, so this is Wingy's song, where we give Wingy a player's name based on some of the information he gives us. We give him 30 seconds to come up with a song.
Give me a chance. So it'd have to be somebody who's played in the last year or something like this, not like an older player.
Okay.
Also, and older players maybe would, already have a song. So, so somebody about the last year, midfielder, for
Okay.
example. And just to narrow it down even more, maybe somebody who scored this year. So it narrows down the field.
Okay. So, let's Wingy, let's give you the name. Yeah, let's give you the name Martin Sedlak.
Martin Sedlak, right. Okay, now I've got 30 seconds?
Yeah, 30 seconds.
Start
Give us a song.
A Martin Sedlak song. Okay, right. So 30 seconds from now, yeah? Sedlak. Yeah, I think I've got a couple of ideas.
Okay.
Give us the song, Wingy.
At first, I was thinking of it along the said part. I was thinking like Right Said Fred or something, but I couldn't think of the next line. So what I came up with was Sex Bomb by Tom Jones. So Sedlak, Martin Sedlak. He scares the opposition when he plays them off the park. Sedlak, Martin Sedlak. He always gets a goal when we need in a spark. I don't know, something like that.
Hey, because Matt Lost Boyo sent me a video on Friday, Craggy and Wingy, with him in a bar in Spain, with him singing "Don't You Want Me, Gromsky."
Really? Brilliant. We should post that. Put that
I bet it's going to
online.
be a hit in Spain in the next few weeks. Top of the charts.
Everybody was singing Gromsky, not knowing who he is. Yeah.
Wingy, let us know when you're back so we can do the next game, yeah?
Yeah, okay.
Thanks for that, Wingy. Great song. Great song.
Well, yeah, actually, just quickly before we move on, we often come up with some classics, but we had a great one, didn't he? His was Toolidan's song that time.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, maybe you can post a link to it or something. Yeah. Toolidan to what's the name of the band again?
It was Milli Vanilli.
Milli Vanilli.
Milli Vanilli. Yeah, it was.
It's really. He also came up with when we had Harris Harbour playing for us. He also came up with Harris Harbour. The Bosnian to come a chameleon.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Wingy, talented man. Wasted in Blansko, you are. Wasted in Blansko. Hey, can I talk a little bit about Malaga?
Of course.
Yeah, because we had Matt Los Boyo on the pilot. What was it, 2 weeks ago, and I did some digging into Malaga, not really digging, but I did discover that their former manager, Craggy, Pepe Mel, what a great name, is also a novelist, and he's published 3 books: The Liar, Road to the Afterlife, and The Test. Now, do you know which former Premier League manager has also written 3 books and is an accomplished novelist? Think Aston Villa.
Yeah.
He also managed Birmingham City, and he also managed Wigan Athletic and Sunderland, to name a few. Manchester United centre-back.
Steve Bruce.
Now, Steve Bruce, if you think that Pepe Mel's books were, I'll repeat them again: Liar, The Road to the Afterlife, and The Test. Steve Bruce's books were Striker, Sweeper, and Defender.
The trilogy.
Right, okay. Now, can I just... what I tried to do was they go for a lot of money. They sell for £70 now. I'm pretty sure that my brother Ross had them because he was a little bit of a Manchester United fan. Now, can I just try and find a quick review of Striker?
Please do.
Okay. Are you ready for this? Okay. Let me just see if I can find it. Okay, right, here we go. So, striker. Steve Barnes, I wonder where he got the names from, finds young Irish striker Pat Duffy stabbed to death in the changing room, and becoming suspected of murder himself, spends the rest of the book struggling to clear his name. In an odd move, he decides to do so by solving the case on his own, despite A, the police already being involved, B, being a suspect himself, and C, having neither the expertise, training, nor the free time available to investigate a murder. Yeah. On his quest, Steve Barnes, I wonder where he gets the name from, encounters gun-toting Irish thugs, disgruntled baby mamas, and treacherous, heavily armed coaching staff. Not to mention a gay nightclub-owning drug dealer with the glad eye for a middle-aged football manager. What? Yeah, okay. And a thrilling top-of-the-table clash between Leadersford and Fulham. Leadersford, I wonder where he got that. I think he was manager of Huddersfield at the time. That's watched over by a rogue sniper intent on killing our trusty hero. It's written in 1999.
Loads of them about.
It's written in 1999 and regarded as the best of Steve Bruce's novels, and certainly the most readable. Harper Lee has famously only published one novel, so she can eat crap because Steve Bruce has published 3. Yeah.
You do wonder, don't you?
It's unbelievable. If you go onto Amazon and try and find a copy of this, you'll see that it's like 70 quid, going for 70 quid.
Jesus.
It's unbelievable.
Do you think you've got the time worth it to dedicate to reading that?
Mate, I have to say, it is unbelievable. Steve Bruce, a published writer.
A published writer.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Was it a cabbage or a cauliflower that was thrown onto the pitch?
Was it really? It was season tickets, definitely Aston Villa as well, eh?
Yeah.
Poor Steve Bruce.
Yeah.
I like him as a man, but probably not as a writer.
That's the thing, isn't it? He comes across pretty sound, but I don't know. I'll have to read his literature to judge him.
I just found it quite funny that Pepe Mel has obviously made an attempt to write real novels, and Steve Bruce probably hasn't made much of an attempt. I probably think they're probably ghostwritten or something.
Yeah. Are there any other famous footballers that are novelists that you can think of off your head?
No. Glenn Hoddle wrote a song, didn't he, which he performed with Chris Waddle.
Yeah.
Diamond Lights. Yeah, great song. Maybe we can review that next time. Anyway, but we love having Matt Losboyo, and Malaga are definitely a team I'll keep an eye on. So thanks again for him coming on, and
we'll speak to him again soon, no doubt.
Hopefully Pepe Mel, maybe we can get him on.
Yeah, let's see.
Maybe we can get him every week to just read a short extract from his book.
I'd rather Steve Bruce do it, to be fair.
Would you? Can you get Steve Bruce?
Yeah, I'll get him on the blower.
All right, okay. Any other ideas?
I'll have to think about it.
I've got one.
Yeah?
Craggy's conspiracy theories. So I would give you a conspiracy theory every week. I think this is a real seller. I've already ordered the tote bags. and the pens.
Okay.
That we'd give you a conspiracy theory, or you would just come up with one yourself, and then
I can create.
Okay, all right, and we'd give it to the listeners, and they would decide whether it's conspiracy or true.
But what if they become popular, these theories, and then I'm at the root cause of it all?
Mate, this could be your first million.
Okay, I'm done.
So go for it.
Done.
Go for
Deal.
Craggy's conspiracy theories.
Coming to a podcast near you. We're going to have a separate podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, enough of Craggy's conspiracies for now. Now what have we got coming up?
Well, we've got a great chat with David Fisher. David's a professional footballer who currently plays for Glentoran in Northern Ireland. He's someone who I've been talking to for a while because I think I discovered him on Transfer Market when I was looking at the Wimbledon squad, because I was probably looking at Chris Gunter.
As you do.
As you do. Not a novelist. Just in case you're going to ask, it could be. He's a man of many talents. Anyway, so David first came to my attention because when I was looking at the squad, I could see that alongside the English flag, there was a Czech flag. So I wrote to him in English to ask why, because sometimes, you have players who maybe don't speak the language. And David replied to me in Czech, and we just continued talking. And I thought, it'd be really interesting to get somebody who obviously has a love for the Czech Republic on the show to talk about, being Czech, but also being born in England. So, we decided to invite him, and it was so good. Yeah. I think you would say, Craigie. He's so good.
Really charming guy.
Yes.
And he's a really good conversationalist.
Yeah.
And we had a lot to talk about.
Yeah. So originally we planned to have just a 40-minute chat with him, but in the end it ended up being 120 minutes.
Yeah, so we're going to split this interview into two. Mm-hmm. And next part will be with the next podcast in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Probably after Strani away, we'll try and do one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and take it away, Craigie. I think let's get David on, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Davide, já musím říct v češtině, rád tě konečně poznávám.
A ty taky.
Ale budeme mluvit anglicky, jo?
Ano, samozřejmě.
Okay. So how are you today? Where are you at the moment, by the way? That's our first question. Where are you exactly?
Me? I'm just chilling in my room at the moment. Obviously, we had tough training today, so just relaxing and whatever after. So just chilling.
Are you in kind of like you in a shared flat or something? Did the club?
Yeah. So there's a house that they've now got for a few of the boys who obviously don't live here. So there's me, and then there's two others that live here like permanently at the moment, and then there's another boy who comes up like twice a week. So there's four of us in here sometimes. So it can be a bit chaotic, I can't lie.
Yeah, probably a bit crazy, four footballers living together.
Oh, yeah. It's good fun though. It's funny, I tell you that.
Yeah. Okay, all right, okay.
Great. David, can you tell us a bit about where you grew up, please?
So I grew up just outside of London, like sort of near Gatwick sort of way. So it was a bit of because I joined Wimbledon at 9, so it was a bit of a like sort of 45 minute drive to obviously go into training and that, which wasn't always easy, but I grew up just outside. It's good access to Belfast, to be fair, because Gatwick Airport's literally 10 minutes away. So
your family still live there? Your family still live there?
Yeah, still live there. Yeah, still live there. So yeah, just outside of London. But I think for me anyway, I prefer living just outside because, it's very hectic. Let's put it that way. Yeah, London's hectic.
I think we both lived in London. I lived in various places, Hammersmith, Hampstead.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
How crazy it was. Craigie, you also lived in London, didn't you?
Yeah, I lived in Balham and then in Finsbury Park. So two pretty different areas. Balham. Yeah. It was an interesting place to live, Balham. It wasn't really my cup of tea. It was a lot of, I don't know, when I was living there, it became a very expensive area. And I remember once there was a guy, he came to do some work on the flat that I was renting. And he said to me that he grew up there and you couldn't give those places away when he was a kid.
Really?
Yeah. He said it completely changed, obviously. Then I moved up to Finsbury Park. But you're right, hectic. It's chaos in London sometimes.
So, David, like the reason why you're on here is obviously because of the Czech connection. What's it like growing up in a Czech English family in London? Like was Czech kind of like spoken at home? Was that the
Yeah. So especially it's more so now. When I was younger, it was almost like, I don't want to say it was like a chore, but like sometimes it was almost just natural. So like my mum would sort of speak to me in Czech and I'll just reply in English. But like as I got older and older, I started to realize, you know what? It's actually really useful to have two languages anyway. And then sort of obviously going on holiday there and whatever, sort of my love for Czech Republic sort of grew and grew and grew. And then now, like anytime I speak to my mom, I always speak Czech. I don't even bother speaking English anymore. I try and speak as much as I can. Because is it like it's very, very small amount of people who are Czech over here, so you won't be speaking to them. So yeah, so I try and speak as much as I can.
Yeah, when I used to travel to London with my then girlfriend, we used to kind of like used to be the secret language. But then, of course, in London, there's quite a few Czechs, so you'd often
yeah,
hear spoken on the underground and stuff.
yeah, you
Yeah,
can hear it. Yeah,
yeah. What you said about kind of like like it being a little bit of a chore. Like I meet a lot of bilingual kids here, and usually one of the languages, especially the one that's kind of like, so for example, if you're born in the Czech Republic and one of your parents is English, you'd probably find English the chore rather than
yeah,
Czech. And yeah, I can completely understand it, but it's good that you kind of kept up with it. Have you
yeah.
got a favorite Czech word?
Favorite Czech word. Oh,
I'll give you mine.
I don't want to say I've got a favorite Czech word. Do you know what
Mine
though?
is
I do have a favorite Czech player though, Ralph. I'll tell you that. Do you remember Ojfalushi? Tomas Bata. I always find that name just like it was my dad who first sort of said it, and then ever since I was just like, and like there's another one. I like Yankolovsky as well. I like that them types of names. They're like a little bit slightly different to what you normally see. I like those types. So
Czech can be quite logical. My favorite Czech word is mimozemšťan, which is alien. Mimozemšťan.
yeah.
Out of this land.
Out of this, yeah.
Unbelievable. Craig, have you got a favorite?
Well, yeah, only recently I learned the word robenka, the log cabin or something, I think it means.
Oh,
robenka.
right,
yeah, I only learned it a couple of days ago. It's again, like you say, it's that sound of the word. It's kind of stuck with me. But I learned this phrase the other day as well. Jednou za uherský rok, meaning once in a blue moon, which is a fantastic phrase. So once in a Hungarian year. Okay. So how important is the Czech Republic to you then, Davida? Because you talk about the language and obviously your family from there. And do you think about the place often? Do you like to come here often?
Honestly, like Czech Republic for me, most people, like if most people if you used to speak to most people who are close to me and that, they would just say I just can't stop speaking about it because I just love going there every year. I love to go. I love to try and get at least like 3-4 weeks out there, like as like a bare sort of minimum. I would like if I could, I'd spend the whole off season. I'd spend it out there. But obviously, I want to go or catch maybe like a bit of sun somewhere in like Spain or something as well, or whatever, just a bit more chilled. But yeah, no, absolutely love going over there. Like the family that I've got over there, like they're my sort of my favorite people. So love going and spending time, and I also drive over there whenever I can. Yeah, so I drove in the summer.
Is it a Golf? Is it a Golf that you drive?
Yeah, Golf GTI. So Autobahn can be a bit scary for some people, but for me, I really enjoy it. So yeah, no, I really enjoy doing that as well. Because my cousins, they really like cars as well. So like I'm quite big into my cars. So yeah, so like they hadn't seen my car. My cousin was quite interested to try and drive it on the other side of the road. So like, sorry, not the other side of the road, the other side like of the car, if that makes sense. Like, cause obviously it's right hand. So he was like, and he was going to me the whole time. This is so weird. This is like, honestly, like it was just, it was quite funny. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. When I first started driving in the Czech Republic, like like I'd go to change gear, but I'd end up opening the door, because it's a natural thing, Like the first car I drove was a Trabant here in the Czech Republic.
Really? No way.
Yeah, around some kind of like disused factory in Hranice na Moravia.
Is it? They always sound like they're going to blow up.
Yeah, this one almost did.
The only car I've ever driven on in mainland Europe is a Lada Niva, one of those old green things. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
I've never driven. I have to get one one day, honestly.
I've wanted one ever since. Every time we see him when we're on a trip, I see, look, it's another Niva.
Yeah.
If you love your cars, you got to love a Lada Niva. That's all I'm
Oh,
saying.
you have to.
David, tell us about Slavicin. You come to the Czech Republic quite often. So your mum is from Slavicin, is that correct?
Yeah. So she's from Slavicin. She's obviously born there, grew up there. Our family still are over there. And yeah, just love going over there. It's obviously sort of tucked away on sort of close to the Slovakian border. And like just everything about it, I just love it. Like obviously I don't get to go there in the winter, unfortunately, but like they've got like an ice rink there. And then in the summer they've obviously got open swimming pools and everything like that. So like I just love everything about it.
And do you skate then? Do you play hockey?
I don't personally, but to be fair, right, I've actually sort of gotten into it slightly. Over here in Belfast, they've got a hockey team, Belfast Giants, and I've actually been to a game, and I'm planning to go to a few more because I actually really enjoyed it. Going over there, and obviously we won the was it the World Cup or something in Prague? So
yeah.
in the summer, so like obviously I watched that with my uncle, and like everyone was absolutely buzzing over it. So yeah, I'm not quite the skater, I'll tell you that. I'll be more on the floor than actually trying to do something.
Did Petr Cech play for
He did, Belfast Giants, yeah, last year. Yeah, he was I was trying to catch a game whilst he was here, but nothing like ever sort of lined up for me to go and see it. And then like when I got to a game, he left. I was a little bit gutted.
Because he's a proper hero, like one of the Czech's greatest footballers, I'd say.
Yeah. I'd go even as far as best Premier League goalkeeper. I'd even go as far as that.
Yeah,
he's outstanding.
He is. It's not a bad shout, definitely.
Hey, honestly, like I've said it a few times. Like just in the change room, maybe sometimes you're talking about players. I've said it a few times. But like Czech, he probably the best good Premier League goalkeeper, and I've not had anyone go to never been that. I've never had anyone say that. So like it's one of those ones where he could be like this. The save against Andy Carroll in the FA Cup, like was it semi-final, whatever it was, like that is just unbelievable to be able to claw that back. But yeah.
And what about now? What do you think about? Sorry, Ralph. I was going to say, what do you think?
Carry on.
Yeah, talking about Premier League goalkeepers on that point, what do you think about Emi Martinez?
Emi Martinez, do you know what? Right, like a lot of people sort of hate on him, but like I actually love. Like he's one of those players, right? You love him on your team, but as soon as he's on the other team, yeah, you hate him.
Yeah.
Like just.
But that's it.
Like,
I'm a Villa fan, so that's why I ask, because I love him. Yeah, I love him. Yeah.
To be fair, I love him, but I think I'd be calling him every name under the sun if I was against him, honestly.
No doubt.
He's just that type of person. Do you know what I mean? But one of those players you absolutely need and want on your team.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you got anyone on your current team at the moment that's hated by the away fans? It's not you, is it?
Hated by the away fans. Oh, I mean, it's more for like sort of because over here they've got sort of the Catholic and the Protestant sort of thing over here. So like if there's any sort of Catholics on your team and you're playing a Protestant team or something like that, like sometimes you might hear some comments or whatever. But like it's not like a serious sort of thing. It's more, I think it's more, I don't know how to say it. It's just more like just trying to get into your head, if that makes sense. But in terms of actual hate, I don't know. There's a lot of trying to get into people's heads, I'll tell you that right now. Like, it's just, especially when you play against Linfield, like we played against them Boxing Day. That was some days to forget almost.
We'll talk about Glentoran a little bit later, actually. But just going back to the Czech Republic, like I know that Slavicin and Zlínský kraj, are your favourite places. I've got good friends in Štítno nad Vláří, which is
it
like a small town, next door. So I I used to go there for on May the 1st. They used to have this poach, which is kind of like a village fair, and I used to go there all the time, all the time. Do you have like a favorite place outside of kind of like where your family grew up?
So I actually like I've been there a couple times. Snezhka, the tallest mountain.
Yeah, really?
I've been there a couple times. Yeah, I like that sort of area. I do love going to Prague. I do love going to Prague. That's a no-brainer. But yeah, I'd say outside of there, I do like Snezhka. I like climbing like nature and that. There's a bit of me. Bohemia, Switzerland as well. I've been up there, but I like to explore a little bit more. I haven't done too much exploring. There's just so much. Do you know what I mean? Like in terms of that sort of part of Czech Republic, there's a lot. So, Snezhka. I love climbing.
You got to try and climb to the top of Lisa Hora then, because it's not too far from you in Beskid.
No. Yeah. I did suggest it last year, but I don't think people were quite quite happy with the suggestion to go for a big climb. Rather not do that. But
there's a pub at the top. At the top, so yeah, you can tell that.
Two technically.
That might persuade a few.
When you travel over, do you travel over on your own? Because I know you got a brother, haven't you? I think.
I've got a brother and I've got a sister. But it's usually sometimes it lines up slightly differently. So like last holiday, I went over by myself at first, and then my family came over a few days later, if that makes sense. So like I'll try, like it doesn't, like for me, I'll try and spend as much time as I can. So like I might set off maybe like a week earlier or something, because obviously I've got the time, and getting time off work isn't as easy for like my mum and dad and my brother, and my sister. So as long as it, like we always try and make sure we are all there together at some point, but like I'll always set off, so I think by myself most of the time.
Has your brother and your sister like embraced the language as well? Do they both speak?
Yeah, so I would say more so in recent years. They've started to embrace it a lot more. I think I was sort of by myself for a little while. And then I would say the last 2 or 3 years, they've both sort of been like, oh, you know what? I don't know whether maybe it might be a little bit of my influence, where I'm speaking fluently with my mom about stuff. And they're just like, I'd like to do that as well. Maybe, I don't know. There might be a bit of that, but like, it's actually really good to see like them trying a little bit more to try and speak with my mom in Czech and everything like that. Like I said, having been able to speak a second language is quite cool anyway, because like you might see something like somebody doing something, right? But if you say it in English, they might overhear it. If you say it in Czech, like nobody knows.
Yeah, we've definitely been in that position. Hey, are they older or younger than you?
So my brother's younger than me, and my sister is older than me. We're all like a year and a half sort of apart. So we're all quite close in sort of age.
That's cool.
So yeah.
Does your dad speak Czech as well?
Do you know what? Right. So to be fair to him, he tries, and to be fair, like he's actually gotten some stuff quite good. Like saying like a r sound it doesn't quite come naturally to people. So like saying like or something, it's difficult. So, to be fair, he did struggle at first, but he's getting better. And he does, like, he can pick up like bits and pieces and then work out maybe a sentence. But yeah, look, to be fair to him, he's done quite well. Obviously, I would say Czech, like sort of Eastern European languages, and Czech as well, like one of the hardest languages to learn, I would say.
Yeah, it can be a struggle.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Slovakia? Have you been to Slovakia?
Yes, yes and no. In terms of like, me and my mum once went to Piešťany, which is just So like we went there for a few days because there was like some spa hotel there. So I've been sort of dipped in Bratislava maybe like I picked up my girlfriend from the airport once at Bratislava, but that was that was just a quick stop. So I'd probably like to explore a little bit more. Like obviously the Beskidi and Tatra Mountains as well. So
Yeah.
I'd like to go over there.
It's more about
Um,
because of language. I don't know how you find the language because, like your mum would probably say, oh, there's not many differences at all. But for somebody like myself, when you go there, it's like there are differences, definitely. And you have to kind of tune in. It's like a radio sometimes. Kind of like,
Yeah, 100%.
and then
No,
all of a
I'm the
sudden you
same.
understand.
I'm the same. I'm the exact same. Like when we was in the hotel, I still remember this, right? My mum was obviously like talking to the receptionist, and like there was a few words that weren't quite like the same in Czech. And I was thinking, like it took me like a second to like sort of process it and be like, actually, oh, that's what it is. Do you know what I mean? Like it just like sort of clicks in your head. So no, I do see the difference. Especially sometimes in like shop names and stuff. Like you kind of see it.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. And did your mum and dad? Sorry to ask this question. Did your mum and dad meet in England or in the Czech
They met
Republic?
so my mum was an au pair.
I
She came
thought so.
over here. So they sort of met over here. Like the family she was hosted with was at the same event as my dad. So they sort of met like that, which was quite cool. Like is like the chance of that actually happening like is so like small, do you know what I mean?
And what about stuff like like Czech food and things like that? Are you kind of like
Oh, I love Czech food. Like ovocné knedlíky is probably my favorite. We go to what's the name of it? So it's called kohoutka, which is it's on the Slovakian and Czech border. I can't remember where, but like so we go there pretty much the last 3-4 years. We've gone there every year, and like there's these ovocné knedlíky. If they're filled with blueberry, and like honestly I'll send you a picture of like honestly they are massive, they're huge, and yeah, absolutely love them. But like smažení sír, goulash, oh my days, absolutely, I'll smash everything.
hey, not good for a footballer though.
Hey, you're not wrong about that, but at the same time, like got to enjoy yourself a little bit. So
Absolutely. So
yeah, my
David,
auntie.
sorry, carry on. Carry on.
I was gonna say, just my auntie, obviously, like she or home cooks it all as well. So it's just a little bit better because it's just homemade stuff.
Nice. Yeah, you're lucky. You're lucky you have that.
Oh yeah, I'm very lucky. I'll tell you that. Food, brilliant.
So you love food and cars, yeah.
Yeah, food and cars, top of the list.
How did you start with football, David? And how old were you when you got picked up by Wimbledon?
So my dad says I first started like sort of kicking it when I was like 2. I think so. My first club that I played for was just a local team that my dad sort of managed. So I played for them at under 8s, and then we played like my dad managed to get in contact with Wimbledon, and we played them in a friendly. And then they told me to come down because basically, right. So I was actually on trial at Crystal Palace before because they had picked me up before. But so there was a coach who was at Crystal Palace who also coached at Wimbledon. So then basically I was been at Palace for 2-3 months. Then he's sort of taken me over to Wimbledon and gone, right, do you wanna sign for us? So I signed over there when I was 8, so going under 9. So from under 9s all the way through till I guess under 18s, and then I had a little sort of gap year, but then carried on through like that.
I read somewhere that your dad's a Wimbledon fan, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Big. So yeah, he's a big Wimbledon fan. He was at the 1988 Cup final when they beat Liverpool. So like yeah, I mean when he was sort of coach for us when I was younger, I'm pretty sure like he just sort of emailed Wimbledon, like a maybe like an off chance they might give us a go, if that makes sense. And then they've gone, actually, yeah, you know what, you can play our B team to start with. So like, yeah, so massive Wimbledon fan. Still
Wow.
goes to the games as well.
Is
Still
he?
goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, still
Mate's,
goes.
mate's got season tickets. In fact, when I mentioned your name, they've got him and his son have got season tickets to Wimbledon. And when I mentioned your name, I'll have to find out. But he said that yeah, you must be friends with somebody that he knows that's also at Wimbledon. Like or was a
Mm.
player at Wimbledon. I'll find out the name and I'll send you a message because
Yeah.
you told me to ask you and I forgot. So
Yeah.
I've forgotten the name as well. So that's not really very helpful, is it?
Oh, I know a lot of people at Wimbledon, so there's bound to be somebody.
And when you signed for them, did you have like an understanding of kind of the history of Wimbledon? Because me and Ralph were talking the other day in the train about we were sort of quizzing ourselves on teams that were big when we were first watching football and over the years and things like that. And he asked me, Wimbledon, and I said, yeah, for me, Wimbledon were a top league side when back then when I was sort of really first had my first love of football, I can say.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I guess when you're like sort of 9, 10, I don't think you realize it. But then as you get older, and then you're like, and then sort of you understand things a little bit, you understand football a bit more and everything like that. You're kind of like, oh, you know what? This club's actually massive. Like, do you know what I mean? So I guess at first I wasn't. I was just a kid playing football.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
just
sure.
do you know what I mean? But then, like I said, as you get older, and people sort of tell you like sort of the history and everything. They're like, they sort of say like, and then you even do your own sort of little things. Like for example, even now, like on TikTok, you might see David Beckham's goal come up against Wimbledon, come up on like my TikToks and that every now and then I see something, or I don't know, you just see like little bits of like the crazy gang or something. Do you know what I mean? Like Vinnie Jones and that. So like you see that sort of popping up and you're like, damn, like they were actually a huge team, and it's obviously it's a shame what happened to them, and everything.
Vinnie Jones, that's a blast from the past. I remember going to watch Wales against Wales against Bulgaria out in Sofia in about 1995, I think. And Vinnie Jones, he's come from that background where, like he was I think he was a builder, then he became a footballer, and he still had like very raw and loads of snow on the pitch. So, in fact, I think the game was delayed by 48 hours. Anyway, the game was played, and Vinnie Jones went to take a throw in. Instead of taking a throw in, he started having a snowball fight with Bulgarian fans. Can you imagine that? International football? You've got Ryan Giggs and John Hartson, and he got Vinnie
I'm gonna
Jones.
go search that up. That's class. That's so funny, man.
What were your first few years like at the club then? Like, I mean, like, how did it compare to kind of like playing, like for your dad's, for the team your dad coached, and then all of a sudden going to a club like Wimbledon? What was?
Yeah, definitely different. I remember when I actually my first training session there, right? I didn't actually want to go into the session. I was really shy, and then basically my dad was just like, right, you gotta go in, like you gotta go. So just went in, and once you're on the pitch, you don't think about stuff anymore. And so I was there whilst there was still, so my under nines, my first season was when we were still playing sort of like Sunday league football, and then they obviously got promoted to League Two, and then once they got promoted to League Two, they changed their academy system so that we were playing against other academies now, in terms of other League Two teams, other League One teams, and everything like that, right? So then it so that season there is where it started to feel like it was more professional, and you were getting Monday. Well, I can't remember. I think it was Monday. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think that's what it was.
How old were you at the time?
9, 10. Yeah. So like straight off the bat, like you're training 3-4 times. I think it was 3 or 4 times a week, and yes, and then obviously you play your games on a Sunday. So definitely different from just I guess training with your dad and and your mates. Definitely different. But like we was always taught, do you know what, so the thing with Wimbledon is, right, we were always taught how to play a certain style of football from young. A lot of clubs just play how their first team play. So a lot of the time it's just get it into the other half. But like we were always trying to play out from the back and trying to learn how to play football. And it was all done right there. So then that obviously helps translate obviously as you get older. So yeah, definitely a different feel, to give you that.
Were you always a striker? And did you become a striker because your dad was coach of the team and then he just play up front?
No, so I was actually sort of like a winger, I guess, in a way. I think I was a winger, or I played forward when I was up with my dad, and then when I went to Wimbledon, so I obviously came in as a forward, right? But then they've put me at centre back, and I was always told that it was for sort of my game understanding, and because obviously when you can see the game from the back, like you can see everything in front of you rather than the opposite way. So for about 2-3 years I was playing centre back, and then I think there was a point where I was just like, oh, I'm getting sick of this. So I was just asking the coaches and being like, oh, can I go up top? Because I guess I just wanted to score goals again. Obviously you don't really get that much opportunity back there. So no, so I played centre back, and then I switched back at under 13s, switched back, and then I haven't sort of looked back. I guess I guess as I was breaking into the first team at Wimbledon and at playing on loan at Hampton, I was more of a winger. And then last season, Warren's put me back up top, and obviously paid dividends for him. So
he's got, I watched some because you sent me some footage like when you were at Hampton, because when we were trying to get you into a Czech team, and you scored some belters for Hampton, didn't you? Like a couple of real crackers.
Yeah, no, the Maidstone goal pops to mind straight away. I remember that one. That was the last day of the season, and what was it? It was it was their promotion sort of party, wasn't it? So because they went up as champions that year, so almost spoiled the party, I guess, a little bit. We ended up losing 2-1, but like that's probably my favorite / best. I guess maybe not favorite, but like in terms of best goal, I think that's probably the best one I've scored for sure.
What was it like making your professional debut? And like, how nervous were you walking into kind of like the Wimbledon dressing room? I know you'd obviously been training with the team, but like as a young professional, kind of like going into the dressing room for the first time, like, how was it?
Do you know what, right? So obviously, like, because my dad's a fan and everything like that, I almost felt like there was like at the time, it almost felt like not pressure, but like more. I just wanted to play well for my family and my dad, obviously. So like that's all I wanted. So I guess once you're sort of, like I've always said, right, like once you're on the pitch, like you forget about everything. Like everything's just forgotten. You're just on the game. You don't notice that there's like however 3-4 whatever it is 1,000 fans there watching. Like you always forget about it. You just focus on playing the game. But like obviously before the game, like you're not it's not nerve. Like for me, it's not nerves. It's like I said it to people before. Right? I almost get like a tingly feeling, like excitement. Like it's so strange. Like I feel it like in my fingertips and that. Like it's really strange.
Like every game, or
no, like maybe not every game, but like let's say maybe the game's a bit bigger than usual. Like for example, right, the other day, obviously it was our first game. We was on TV and everything like that, and obviously pre-season, we've been in for 8 weeks or so. So like like obviously a big build up and everything like that. So stuff like that, for example, or maybe like the cup final last year. I got, obviously, you know, you always get that sort of excitement. Like you just want to be on the pitch. Like you like the because obviously you're in the game in what, an hour and a half, hour 45, maybe even sometimes 2 hours before a game. So like the lead up is so long. You just like get me on the pitch, like warm up, everything like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would say
What are
more
you doing
exciting.
for that time? What are you doing for that time? Like for 2.5 hours? Like what's the pre-match ritual?
Yeah,
So
do you have the rituals? Yeah.
Yeah.
in terms of rituals, I don't really have much. Like I always go through, so I always have my same sort of activation pre-ab stuff that I do every game. I guess maybe you can call that a ritual. I don't know, but like it's just the same thing every game. I do the same thing. In terms of like mobility stuff, isometrics, plyometrics. I always go through the same thing. That my like one of my boys set me to do like sort of 2 3 years ago. Like I've been working with him for a while now, so like it's something that I've been doing for like the last 2 3 years. So I guess that's the sort of the only thing that I kind of do. But like in terms of wanting to maybe add stuff, like I want maybe just try and zone in a bit more and just have my own music on in my headphone in my earphones. But the problem is, right, we're not allowed to touch our phones after team talk, so like you get fined if you do that. And like so I don't want to touch my phone and get fine money like every time I want to maybe skip a song or something. So I need to find a way around that. But yeah,
Yeah,
like
like,
yeah,
were
in
you there
terms of
2.5 hours before, did you say? You're there like at
no,
the
not 2.5. No, 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 no. But I would so usually I would say hour 30, hour 45 we're there sort of before the game. Because obviously we all travel together, right? So we're there sort of hour 45. And then like you just I guess you just talk, like you just chill, just yeah, enjoy, I guess enjoy as best you can. I always hate it because like there's not really much to do apart from talk. So because like it's not like, or like, I guess you can go check out the pitch and whatever, but like for me, right, the if I only really check it out if it's sort of away. Or maybe the day's slightly different. It's been raining a lot or something. I don't know. But like at the end of the day, pitch is a pitch for me. So um, yeah.
what was your initiation song at Glentoran?
Initiation. I've done a few, but like the one that I did here, Glentoran, was I did Diamonds by Rihanna. So, yeah, I did. Yeah, to be fair, the boys got into it. And some boys, so to be fair, right? So sometimes you get like backing music, sometimes you don't. Mine was all me. No instrumental, nothing like that. It was all me. It's always good fun though, I'll tell you that. It's always good fun. Some boys get quite nervous. I used to be like that. I used to be quite nervous about it and being like dreading it and everything like that. But like when you actually break it down, and it's just having fun with the boys. So like you just go enjoy it and open yourself up, I guess, a little bit.
I've got to ask you, when you were at Wimbledon, like you must have you played with Chris Gunter, didn't you?
Yeah, I did play with Chris Gunter.
He's a legend for us, like for
Absolute
any
legend,
Wales
isn't
fan. What's he? Well, you know, what's he like? Because I mean, to me, he strikes me as being the ultimate professional. But the
he?
moment
Yeah,
that he kind of like he's obviously moved clubs, but it feels like he's like he's just
yeah,
really the club that he's at the moment. He didn't play
yeah.
that many games for Wimbledon, I don't think, did he?
No, to be fair, he played that one season, right? But you hit the nail on the head there in terms of he was so professional and like he was so calm in the way he did everything.
Mm.
Um, and that's what really struck me the most, right? Is in a hectic, like football's hectic, right? Like it's end to end. Basketball sometimes, like sometimes you come in at halftime, people are shouting and throwing arms and everything like that, and then you just see him, and then like when he speaks, everybody listens. He's like he was one of those ones in the changing room, and you would just listen to him, and he was always calm. And I always tried to, I don't know. I think everyone's different in that terms, in terms of that. But like I've always tried to be as calm as I can. I think more recently it's gone the other way, but maybe this is the reminder I need to sort of maybe come back to that sort of calmness. But yeah, like honestly, ultimate professional. And so like in terms of a youngster, like you can't get anyone better in terms just like as like a role model. So like I always say, it's just somebody that you I guess as a youngster you sort of look up to him and be like, right, okay, that's how he goes around his business, and look where you got him. So yeah.
So is he retired now? He might have retired.
Yeah, he retired. So he had that one season at Wimbledon, and then that was it. That was it for him.
What he does now? I think he just plays golf, doesn't he? Probably.
I think he probably plays golf, and I'm pretty sure he's a coach.
Yeah, he's in the Wales setup. Yeah, of course.
In the
yeah,
Wales setup. So I think and honestly, like no better person to do that. Or he's the record appearance holder, no?
He is.
Yeah.
I think, to be honest, I think that Aaron Ramsey wouldn't play for Wales if Chris Gunter wasn't involved, because I think that those two are like, sure, they just hang out together all the time.
Yeah.
I think even now, I think they're still in the same room, I think. Share rooms. Yeah. No, it is. Anyway, Craigie, I'll leave you to answer the next question, because I could talk about Chris Gunter all night. So.
Okay, so David, talk us through leaving Wimbledon for Glentoran then. So what happened there? How was it?
So I think my final season at Wimbledon was quite mixed. Obviously, I made my debut in that at the start. I got a couple injuries, so I actually did my hamstring in pre-season, which kept me out pretty much for the whole of pre-season, which was just a bit unfortunate. And then a few weeks later, I think it was like 3-4 weeks later, I'd done it again and it was worse. So that kept me out for 3 months. I was going through a bit of a period where my body was changing a little bit. I was trying to turn myself more into a man, I guess, in a way. I put on a serious amount of size. I was 73 kilos. And then I got myself up to about 80, 83, 82, 83. So like I put on some serious size over like, I think it was over a sort of 2-year period where I'd done that. And so I'd done that. I think as a result, got a few injuries from that. And then it was tricky. It was tricky to get myself going that year. Because I started really well, like in pre-season. I know the gaffer was really impressed with me. I had some good sessions. Like I thought I was really good. On my debut as well, I was very good too. Like I only had 15-20 minutes or so, but like I think I was able to make an impact to the point where the gaffer's sort of going, hey, you know what? He could be my backup right at the time we played 3-5-2, so right wing back. Which would have been back up to Gunter. So I got to that, and then obviously the second hamstring injury came, and I think that just sort of killed me, sort of mentally and physically, because I think I gained some serious muscle and obviously some serious speed as well as a result, and it took me a good sort of 6 months to sort of get back to that. So. I think at the end of that season, I just wanted a fresh start. So somewhere new, somewhere where I could maybe sort of build myself a career. And the year before, I caught Warren's eye playing for Hampton. So because he was Welling manager at the time, so he tried to sign me on loan. At the start of the season, Wimbledon obviously said no. He's in our squad. He's in our plans. So that was a no. But then he tried to sign me again when I was made available for loan in sort of January, Feb time. So tried to sign me again. Obviously went to Hampton again. Obviously for some other reasons. But in the summer, whilst he was still at Welling, when I obviously announced that I was leaving, he then tried to sign me again. Obviously, he left Welling that summer and then went over to Glentoran, at which he obviously got it over the line and done. So he came for me three or four times in there. So I guess when you've got some... Huh?
He obviously liked you.
Yeah, obviously, that's what I was about to say, right? When you've got a gaffer who's come in for you several times, you got to be like at one point you just got to be like, well, wherever it is, you just got to go for it. So yeah, no, obviously came over here sort of August time, and then yeah, that's sort of how it came about, I guess. In
Dominic,
fact,
take you back a little bit. Like,
Go
so
on.
when you're suffering from injuries and like you do your hamstring and like like just about to break through, and it must affect you in many ways. Like not just like
it did.
physically but mentally as well.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't know if this is a good question. So I
no,
don't.
yeah.
How do you deal with stuff like that? Is there somebody at the club? Is there a psychologist at the club that kind of like helps you deal with this, or is it about being around your family? How do you deal with such a
I
setback?
think people deal with it in different ways. I think at the time, I sort of, especially during that time, I didn't really know how to deal with it because that was my sort of first time dealing with that sort of length of time out, injured, and maybe the setback hit a bit harder because so Gunter was obviously away with Wales, obviously leading up to the World Cup, being back up in that 3-5-2. I I really do think that Saturday we was playing Bradford away. I really do think I would have started that game. So I think that's what maybe hit a little bit harder, and it's not an easy thing to sort of go through. I was actually the club told me I could go away for a few days, so I went with my brother to Milan just to sort of get away from it. Went and watched some Champions League football there, so that was quite good. But other than that, like you're in the gym, you're doing your rehab, you're especially early. There's not much you can do. You're like for the first sort of 3-4 weeks, you're just letting your body heal. So there's not exactly much for you to do. So in that 3-4 weeks, it was tough, but I had some mates that I could talk to and maybe get things off my chest. So I think that's what helped a lot. Because obviously I thought I was in such a good position, and obviously to get it taken away from you isn't easy. So no, I had a couple of mates who I could sort of lean on, and they helped me through it a lot. So
When you're injured, like, are you still in and around the first team, or are you just in the gym and you see other players every
yeah,
now and
so yeah, you are in and around it. Obviously, like you're in the change room and everything like that. So like you can have banter and that with the boys, but like at the end of the day, as you're starting your day, they're walking out onto the training pitch and you're walking into the gym, and like that difference is a lot. So is it, like I said it before, is quite tricky, especially with long-term stuff. Like short-term stuff, no problem. Like you can be in there for like a week or whatever it is, and like you just be in and out. But like when you're there every day for like sort of 3 months or whatever, or some boys obviously longer, it can be quite mentally draining. So yeah.
yeah. I went to watch Swansea in a pre-season out in Austria, and like last year our goalkeeper was Carl Rushworth, who's Brighton. But
Brighton.
we've had a backup keeper called Andy Fisher, and he got injured in the first game out there. And I spent like some of the second half just looking over at him because he was so down, you could see it. And I just wondered whether, like Swansea's a championship team, so you'd like to think that they have like some kind of like setup where he's looked after, because I really felt that he just needed an arm around him the entire second half because he just didn't look good. He just didn't look good. And it must be really, really hard. It must be so hard.
No, it
It's
is.
a profession, isn't it? So
Yeah, is what you're paid to do, right? On a Saturday.
well, that's what we all dream. I'm still hoping that I'll be playing. I'm probably older than your dad.
Keep on believing. Okay, so that was the first part of the interview with David Fisher. We will continue with the second part in the next podcast.
If I could just quickly say, like, if anybody's got any feedback, definitely give us some, leave some comments on our socials or on Spotify. But we're looking forward to the next show, or at least I am. And I hope you are too, Mum.
So thank you for listening. That's it from me.
And that's it from me.
Goodbye.